Frack on to another episode of Frack the Canon. This time we're talking about the third episode of Loki. We are joined by someone who hasn't been with us in a minute, Renee. How are you, Renee?
Holding up.
All right, good. Sara, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good. All right, Kenny, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm debating if I need a trim or not.
Me too. I'm debating if I should multiple trims myself. Tyler, what's up, good sir? How you doing?
Doing good. Just trimmed last night. Feeling good about it. And the biggest plane in the world decided to fly over my house. So I quite want to answer that question.
I didn't hear it, so we're good.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about this new episode. What's it called? I've seen it like 5 times because I have no idea what happens in this episode. What's it called?
Or Lamentis.
I think so. Okay. So who wants to start off? Because honestly, I did not like this episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
I didn't like it.
I kind of want to kick us off because I agree with you,
Go ahead.
but also
Yes,
I
please.
disagree with you in the weirdest
All right,
way possible.
Go for it.
Like a lot of things happen in this episode, but at the same time, like nothing happened.
Like,
in
all right,
this
can you?
episode.
What would you think that happened? Can you? Because I'm like,
So
go ahead.
like we know it's stealthy now.
Slow down, variant.
What part of imminent death confuses you? Don't call me variant.
I'm sorry, but I'm not calling some faded photocopy of me Loki.
Good, because that's not who I am anymore. I'm Sylvie now.
Oh, you changed your name. Brilliant.
It's called an alias.
Like she admits to Sophie. We don't know her purpose totally. We get a really great kind of continuing in the story, like it's very buddy cop-esque, but now instead of Owen Wilson and Loki, it is now Sophie and Loki. And we get to build on her character. And again, like it's weird to say this, I feel like we learn a lot of things, but at the same time we still don't really know anything. Just because like we see like Sophie doing things, we see Loki assisting with those things that are being done, but like we still don't know her ultimate like purpose or goal. She gets close to getting to the Watchers, but we don't know if the Timeline Keepers, but we don't know if the Timeline Keepers are really these lizard gods that Loki keeps calling. Like it was a fun episode to watch, but it also felt like a kind of a filler, I guess.
It felt so to me. It felt so well, but I mean, because the only thing that I learned from this was that it's Sophie, and that the time agents are all variants.
I had to pull a memory from hundreds of years prior, before she even fought for them.
What did you say? Before she joined the TVA?
Yeah, she was just a regular person on Earth.
A regular person?
Loved margaritas.
I was told that everyone who works at the TVA was created by the Timekeepers.
That's ridiculous. They're all variants, just like us.
They don't know that.
That's one
Yeah.
of the big things. I'm like,
That was big.
it's cool, but nothing led up to what to me wasn't earned. I'm like, what? I was not a fan of this episode. Tyler, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just agreeing with the point. That's the biggest thing I think we learned is the agents were humans, and that really excites me because Owen Wilson probably has a jet ski. And
You and that jet ski, man.
I think he's just skied into the Bermuda Triangle, and that's why he's a TVA agent now. There's just a jet ski floating somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico or something. But I agree with Renee, and but I'm also somewhat like Kenny. I just think this episode just was very weird in the sense that it took a while to get going, and once it did, it was like breakneck pace. What I really didn't like about this episode, and it's something the series has kind of been doing, and I've been giving it a pass this far, is like Loki, who very recently was fighting Thor in hand-to-hand and survived a beating by the Hulk.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
is getting kind of manhandled by like random train guards.
Hey. Get out of the way.
And same with Sylvie, who's been, is the same age maybe, or close to the same age as Loki, and also from Asgard, is having trouble handling like random train guards. And then in that same episode, reverses a building falling on him, and it's like, where is the power scale? How strong is Loki? What is going on? So that was
it's very inconsistent. Like, yeah, I agree with you. Sarah, your thoughts or anything? What would you like to say?
I like the characters interacting. Like I wouldn't say it's my favorite episode ever, but I definitely liked Sophie and Loki playing off each other, and their relationship, or anti-friendship, whatever, their need for each other. I just found them really fun. Though I agree with Tyler about like the inconsistencies. It still bugs me that Loki is kind of nice and friendly, like when like he's the variant from Avengers who just wants to rule everyone. Like I feel like there's arrogance missing in him. Like he hasn't made the emotional journey that like we know our Loki currently to be. I mean, he seems more like our Loki, but
Yeah, I wanna go off of that, because something that I'm having a major problem with in the show right now is this current Loki should have no problem with killing people, right? But yet doesn't, and actively tries not to, especially on a planet that he already knows is doomed, because it's gonna hit a catastrophic like apocalypse, but still is using hand-to-hand combat and not murdering people. And same with Sylvie. And I don't know. I mean, I know why the director and writers chose to do those things, but like, I feel like if you're really trying to build that character, he should be more murderous, I guess.
Yes, I agree completely. Renee.
Well, I do agree with some of that. It is weird to see this side of Loki that isn't God of Mischief Loki. But it kind of shows you that there is that side to Loki throughout this episode, which does seem out of character, but we're exploring a different side of him. This episode, I've noticed a lot of people have been saying it appears to be more like a filler episode, but we're still learning. Like there's still stuff going on in this episode that is still important to the storyline later on.
Can you tell us what those moments were, please?
The storyline, as far as the storyline goes,
or the moments,
definitely learning a little bit more about Sylvie.
Okay.
That she's a Loki variant, but she seems to be troubled by the fact that she's a Loki variant, as if the TVA, like my speculation on that is because she's been with the TVA, she's kind of triggered by being identified as a Loki variant. She wants to be known as something else outside of that. Wants to be her own person, basically, and not just be viewed as this variant.
Okay.
And then definitely another important, we're just learning a little bit more about the TVA. Not a whole lot, but just a bit more. Like how I think it was Tyler or Kenny that said that we learned that the TVA agents are variants from different plots, different spots in time. So that is interesting.
I agree. Yeah, no, I just like, this was not my favorite Marvel Universe Disney Plus episode. Anything else you guys want to bring up? Go ahead. Go ahead. What was that?
I'm sorry. It was visually stunning, though. Like, it was all the colors in the episode.
I just remember a lot of purple. What I remember.
Well, that was that whole
There's a
planet.
lot of purple.
So I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, that whole planet they're on is like real purple. I will say that the last, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, the whole fight scene and everything was like really great, really
Yeah.
engaging, a lot of fun. And then yeah, the big twist, or I felt like the biggest thing to take away, you guys mentioned it a couple times, was the TVA thing, is that they weren't just created out of nothing, that they exist because of variants somewhere in the timeline, and that they were all brought there. So I am curious to see, like Tyler made the joke, like Mobius has a jet ski somewhere in the timeline. So I'm curious to learn more about that and to see how they're going to do the timekeepers, because I feel like there's a reason they're doing the Jaws with us. Like, you know, they're keeping the shark for the last couple of episodes. So I'm waiting to see how they do that.
I agree.
And I want to say that this has actually been my favorite episode so far. Like,
Okay.
I feel like they're getting better. Like the first episode was all explanation of like the past, it was like a review episode, and then the second episode I liked it, but I was still kind of like things just seemed a little off. So this one I finally feel like they're kind of getting into like the story more. And I did like, again, I still really like the characters interacting with each other.
That was cool. I did like their interaction. But I mean, for me personally, I noticed that by episode 4, it took me a while to get into a Disney Plus show for Marvel. So I know for WandaVision it was by episode 3. I'm like, all right. When we see Monica Rambeau go out, I'm like, what? Episode 4 for Falcon and the Winter Soldier is when Captain America kills that dude. So maybe episode 4 will be the one that finally hooks me in. But I know it takes me a minute to get into these shows. I just found it. I just found the first 2 episodes a lot more fun than this one. Personally, I'm just like, but I'm glad you liked it. No, thank you for having that. Though, thank you for saying that you did like it, because I don't want it to be like we all poo-pooed it when we didn't.
Well, I'll jump on the. I'm kind of like sitting on the toilet but not poo-pooing it quite yet. Train. Because there were some things I think they're really trying. Because something I think as an audience can easily forget is like, this is the Loki from 2012, and we don't have all this development through like Ragnarok and everything. And I think they're really trying to develop Loki. Something I would love to hear what Sarah's interpretation is, but like the conversation about Loki and like love, his whole metaphor of the dagger, I found very hard to understand.
Love is a dagger. It's a weapon to be wielded far away or up close. You can see yourself in it. It's beautiful. Until it makes you bleed. But ultimately, when you reach for it,
It isn't real.
And
Yeah,
I've been really
It was
trying
kinda-
to get what he was saying.
Yeah, it was kind of convoluted, huh?
You got anything on that?
I have no idea what that
Yeah.
that to me came out of nowhere. I'm like, are you talking about his mom? Talking about a lover? Like what? I have
We
no
know
idea.
he's obsessed with daggers.
Yeah, so I'm gonna chime in. I don't think that came completely out of, I mean, it came completely out of nowhere, but I think the reason why it came out of nowhere is because we're supposed to care about it. In the final 3 episodes, I think it's really gonna matter.
Like a life-size dagger comes
Nah,
out and it's his girlfriend or something.
I don't think that, because okay, so Sylvie is the current Enchantress in like the current timeline of Marvel Comics. She takes over the role, but she also, like Renee had mentioned last time we talked, was a Loki variant of kind of. She's Earth's Loki essentially. So I don't think that they're gonna make Loki and her fall in love necessarily, but if I'm gonna make an assumption, I think she matters to Loki in the sense of some kind of family, or she's trying to regain love or regain a family in some sense. And so the theme of love with this character who is like very mischief and ambiguous, I think that it's going to matter in the next 3 episodes to make us care more for these 2 characters.
Yeah, and I think with the knife story, I think it's Loki kind of covering himself. Like I think he really does love very deeply, but it's hard for him to admit that or even express what that is for him. And so he's like, for me, that was him trying to explain it in like I like to stab people, but so love's like a knife, but like he doesn't really have the ways to express it at this point.
It reminded me of 13, 14-year-old me being super emo, being love is pain, life is pain. Kind of what I'm like, dude, you gotta grow up, man. I do too, but you gotta grow up more.
That's kind of the point, though, huh? This is 2012 Loki trying to grow.
Exactly. So the only love we've seen so far up to that point was his mom, right? Because he didn't really like. Would you say that he loved Odin or he respected Odin?
I would say respected.
Yeah.
I don't think he loved Odin until Ragnarok.
Agreed.
And even with Thor, I would say that Thor and Loki really don't Thor and Loki don't really share a moment until toward like halfway toward the end of Ragnarok. So yeah.
Did you just agree with me?
Come on, this place is perfect for you. It's savage, chaotic, lawless. Brother, you can do great here.
Do you truly think so little of me?
Loki, I thought the world of you. I thought we were going to fight side by side forever, but at the end of the day, you're you and I'm me. And I don't know, maybe there's still good in you, but let's be honest, our paths diverged a long time ago.
That scene before Help, I love that scene. I'm gonna turn it here.
Yeah.
That is the most.
Oh yeah.
I thought the first Thor was like one of the best, like, because it's very Shakespearean, right? It's Kenneth Branagh. Kenneth Branagh just as Shakespeare. But I think that was the most human moment I've ever seen Loki and Thor be. And when he says like you are a brother, I trusted you, I'm like, dude, that broke my heart. Like that really broke my heart.
As somebody who has a brother relationship, sorry, Renee.
Okay.
I just want to chime in. Somebody who has a brother relationship very similar to Thor and Loki, like seeing that scene, like you can see, one, how well it's acted just between them, and two, how well it's written, because like I look at it and go like, yeah, like I have that moment, like like you want to trust and love your brother, but like the constant letdown, and then to see like the character growth. That's why we go back to this 2012 Loki variant, and I want to see a little bit more, I guess, like difference of him, like back to his more murderous ways.
I don't know if I want to see that myself. I do like the look we got at the end in an Endgame, but I'm like, you're not, that Loki shouldn't be like this. He hasn't grown. He hasn't earned it. He hasn't grown that way. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I got one fan theory that is coming out that I've been really interested in. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. But Sylvie says, "Oh, I dated like a intergalactic postman or something or whatever," and a theory is that
is Stan Lee.
Stan Lee, because
that's his cameo.
Civil War, Stan Lee is a postman, and in the very next movie, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, he's hanging out with the Watchers. So that would be the greatest thing if we have like well, it wouldn't be shot with Stan Lee, but something with Stan Lee.
I ship it.
All right. Would everyone else ship it?
I think it would be cool. I don't think that they'll include Stan Lee, just because I think that they want to leave Endgame as his final cameo. But I think that we can allude to it as fans and enjoy it that way.
Did anyone else count how many times they said enchant in this episode?
Like 8.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was.
So when Loki did stuff, it was magic, but when Sophie did stuff, she was enchanting. No.
What's the difference? Is there a difference?
They explain in the episode. There's a major difference, and I like that they did explain.
I have to look it up because again, I started zoning out. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, I tried so hard to watch it, but this episode was hard for me to watch. I watched it like 5 times, like 3 in English and 2 in Spanish. I'm like, I have no idea what's happening right now. I have no idea why they need this. I didn't like the buddy cop thing between them too. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think Loki would do that.
I think
Not
you're
Loki.
just jealous because you're Mobius. You want Mobius and Loki to get together.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what it is. I
That's
ship
exactly
that
it.
too. They just
Maybe.
go right off on the jet ski.
Well, I mean, hold on. Let me ask you this: if you make out with yourself or have sex with yourself, isn't it kind of like masturbating?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting part because it's so like the tension there.
It's
Even
yourself.
though
It's
they're
yourself,
both
like,
Loki variants.
isn't that masturbating pretty much?
That's why I don't think they're building a love interest between them. I think it's trying to aim at a father-daughter thing.
Or like a
Which-
brother.
Yeah, because
Or a
isn't
brother-sister thing.
Enchantress supposed to be in Young Avengers?
So from what I read,
Yeah.
she didn't make it, and she went to the Young Masters, which is kind of like the Masters of Evil. So she went from good to bad.
I mean, but it'd be fitting to me. Like Loki likes himself the best, or at least he pretends to like
Yeah.
himself the best. It fits with his character.
Which they did in Doctor Who. The bad guy became a woman, and they started flirting with each other. And they're like, "Are you guys gonna?" Like he didn't say it like that, but he pretty much like,
Now we can't air this.
I'm gonna cut that out, obviously.
Yeah, that you gotta cut that out.
I'm gonna cut out to Frack. I should have said Frack. I'm just, but anywho, it's my show, damn it. We'll do it live. Any final comments? Any final thoughts?
I don't think that the tempad that Loki has is actually broken. I just think it's an illusion, and Sylvie doesn't know any better because she doesn't know that he isn't is skilled with illusions.
Mm-hmm. Kenny?
So that's my theory.
I think that's a good one. Because the way the episode ends, like it's definitely how are they gonna get out of this situation. I don't know. Like halfway through is probably the weakest episode. So I based on how good the first 2 were and how good this one still was and how fun it still was to watch, I'm hoping that it continues to go upwards. And so Wednesday's a weird release day, but it gives me something to look forward to in the middle of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sarah?
I'm just excited to see where they go. I hate like time travel stuff just full out, but this one's kind of like it's through time, but without the time travel stuff that I hate. So I'm like actually kind of enjoying it, where I was kind of like, oh, like
With Endgame.
yeah, like I hate like, oh, let's just go back and fix our mistakes, but like it's avoiding that. It's doing its own path, and I'm excited to see what they choose to do.
Tyler?
All right. Well, in closing from me, basically the same as everyone else. Excited what's next. One thing I did want to mention too. Tom Hiddleston said his favorite episodes were 4 and 5 of the show. So
Nice.
that's coming
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, why did that? So yeah,
Delirium talking.
that's the what?
Delirium. You're delirious, dude.
Yeah. Like Eddie Murphy's
Yeah.
Delirious. That's a great comedy show. Now it
Go
won't
get
stand up
sleep.
today. It won't. It's not as PC as it is back in the 80s, but yeah, it's a great special. I don't know what the frick I'm talking about.
I was gonna say, when's the last time you got some sleep, dog?
24 hours.
24 hours ago.
Yeah.
He
well,
said it's
there-
24 hours. He's running on 24 hours of no sleep.
well,
That's what I get for going to Vegas. It was fun. Vegas, baby, Vegas. All right, bracket. All right, we'll see you same bracket time, same bracket channel. Brack off.